It's another edition of The Reset. Make sure you like, subscribe, and more importantly, I'm just glad you're here. Hey, on this episode, that's right, Richard Sherman, future Hall of Famer, will join the show. During this episode, I got to tell you, I lean more into who Richard Sherman is than I do the football analyst and the football player. I'm grateful for him coming on here and hanging out with us. But before we get to that, let me just say Monday Night Football prime time went down at Lumen Field last night. And you know how I do it. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. That's right. Them Houston Texans went down like four flat tires. Them Seahawks, I know some of you all are saying, but gee, they tried to give it away. It don't matter. Winning cures all. The Seahawks are 5-2. And they locked up a win at the crib. That's what matters. I got to say, I am loving this feeling. I'm loving the feeling of winning. But I got to tell you what I'm looking and loving. I'm loving this defense, y'all. This defense is serious. That D-line is serious. That same D-line against the Jacksonville Jaguars had 7 sacks. They had 17 hits, 25 pressures. I said this on the field to open up the game last night at Monday Night Football, and I said to the crowd, it's like a line straight out of the movie Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Because I am, and you are. This defense, give them their flowers. And then the offense, JSN, like I always say, oh, behave, JSN, behave. He's the best in the world. Come on. Have you noticed? Look on social media. Look at all of the experts, all of the football knowers, and look at what they say about Seattle's very own Jackson Smith-Njigba. Oh, yeah. He's ours. He's all of ours. Oh, yeah. So it is just great to be a Seahawk fan right now. Okay, let me shut up. Great win. 5-2, bye week. But right now, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's a husband. He's a father. And he's one of the best to ever do it at that cornerback position. Member of that LOB, and he joins us now, Richard Sherman.
It's the Reset with G. Scott.
He needs no introduction, but I can give it to him. But I want to make this more about Richard Sherman than the analyst, than the football player and everything. Sherman, thanks for joining us, brother. Tell me, what do you see with this current team that maybe some of us don't?
A lot of the things are obvious. Obviously you can't see the in-house changes that they made, the cultural changes, the personal adjustments that Mike McDonald made to just be a better coach. I think that's the thing I appreciate most about him. He's always challenging himself, putting the responsibility on himself to be better, to almost be perfect. And nobody's perfect in this world. But he doesn't want to, he wants to do everything he can to put his players in the best position possible. And I think the players really have a true appreciation for that. And that's why they go out and play hard for him. He's supportive, but, also stern with his guys. And I think going out and getting some of these veterans, going to get DeMarcus Lawrence, bringing Shaq Griffin back into the fold just to be a good voice, obviously a good veteran presence in that locker room. Is a good move. Sam Darnold has thrived. Clint Kubiak has come in and put a system in place and put some real foundational changes in place where they have an offensive identity. The offensive line, we talked about their togetherness and brotherhood that they got going on. And I think that's why, this team is playing better. They got to figure it out at home, no question about it. But I think that's why they're playing overall better.
Sam Darnold, I'll say this. I didn't expect this out of Sam Darnold. He has been phenomenal, selfless, leader, obviously not turning the ball over on the field. Can you give us a little bit more about, I mean, obviously you've studied this team, what you see with Sam Darnold?
You see a lot of things. You see things that you didn't see early on. You see that he has support and he's playing within structure, and he has a great feel for the field. He's seeing it right. He's going through his progressions. They have a good system in place that fits his skill set, that fits the way his vision of how he sees plays, his mobility, and plays to his strengths, and he's executing it in an incredible way. I think everybody who's gone to these QB whisperers and went to Kevin O'Connell or Sean McVay or Shanahan, it's almost like they've gone to a crash course in QB school, and QB school, from the footwork to the reads it's a real master course of football. And I think that helps them in the grand scheme of things. It helps them not only as a player, but going forward, it helps them understand the game fundamentally. And I think that's what's helped him. And then bringing Clint Kubiak, who was with him in San Francisco, helps him to be in his comfort zone. He played in this offense with Kevin O'Connell, the West Coast, running over routes, inside zone, outside zone, mid zone, a lot of the same concepts, a lot of the same verbiage. So it helps him continue to build on what he created last year.
Sherm, since we're talking about quarterbacks, how do so many GMs and or teams miss on quarterbacks? Like sometimes they'll decide to give all this quarterback so much money, and then you see the team not produce. And you see another quarterback that you see the David Jones that's out there.
Daniel
you know
Jones.
what I mean? Daniel Jones that's out there. You see him, and you see the emergence of Sam Darnold, even though Sam Darnold, you know what I'm saying, he got it busy last year. How does that happen?
Right. Well, it's not one blanket statement that you could say, hey, this is what they're doing wrong, because it's a number of things. Sometimes it's a lack of support. Sometimes it's a lack of confidence, lack of structure, a lack of offensive identity, and to just know what he's doing. And sometimes they think they have a finished product and they don't. And it's like you getting into a situation where you still have to coach this dude. You still have to explain to him. You have to prepare him, help him prepare every week, and show him what exactly, set expectations. And you got to know what he's supposed to be doing. I think sometimes they get in these situations where they're expecting guys to come in ready-made veterans and know, hey, this is how I'm going to prepare. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to take care of my family. These are the plays I like. These are the throws I like. These are the depths I like my receivers, and they don't. Sometimes you have to help them through that and help install it for them. Hey, this is what I want. You're going to go from read 1, here's 2, here's 3. And when we're going against 2 high, they're split. If this linebacker slides here, that should come right behind him. I want you to put it right past his ear on this play. That's first read. If he slides inside, I want you to look right there to the stick route. And so I don't think enough teams have that in place or have that understanding and have that system. Obviously, people understand that O'Connell, McVay, Shanahan, they've done such an incredible job, and you've seen it so obviously that they have those things in place. But I don't think I know every organization doesn't have that in place, which is why a lot of guys don't succeed everywhere. It's not always because the guys don't have the skill set, but they're not prepared to succeed right away out of college. Maybe they didn't get this coaching in college. Maybe they've never gone through a progression at all. Maybe they've never gone through a playbook. Some of them have never taken a snap under center. And so if you don't know how to teach them how to do these things and how to build a quarterback, then they're going to struggle. You think, hey, he's already ready. These are the plays I want you to run. Throw it to that guy. Like, go succeed. That's not enough.
I'm sure it doesn't hurt having the leading receiver in the league in yards with Jackson Smith-Njigba, when you have a good receiver like that. Talk about what you have seen from the young wide receiver year 3 out of him.
Just growth, maturity, reliability, the best abilities that you can have, dependability, availability, reliability. Those are the things that you're seeing from him, and I think you're seeing a rapport. I think one is helping the other. They have a symbiotic relationship. I think Sam is helping JSN grow and reach his full potential, and I think the reverse. JSN is helping Sam reach his full potential and allowing him to thrive and play on time. And it's not as simple as they're making it look, because people are like, oh man, he's just running to open spots and he's hitting them. Like, no, it's timing, it's feel, it's knowing when he's going to slow down, when he's going to stop, when he's going to keep going. Is he going to hit the depth of his route, reading his body language, reading Sam's body language, and just being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. I think JSN is a master route runner and is only getting better. I think he's elevating the rest of that room. I think Torrey Horton is taking advantage of that. I think they're maximizing the potential of this offense, and that's why they're having success. And the sky's the limit. Obviously, they're going to go out there and start to game plan for JSN and find ways to stop him. But that's the cool thing about this offense. It's not an offense you can necessarily just sit there and say, hey, I'm a double team this guy, or I'm going to zone him off, or I'm going to cloud him, because they use him in so many different ways. He could be running a spray out, a spray post, an over route, an under, a dig. He could be going deep. You never really know. So you can't structure your defense to stop that. And then you got to stop the run game.
And that run game is nice. Speaking of, I'm privileged enough to get a chance to talk to you about football very often. And you have now made that transition from the football field to Thursday night football. And Sherm, I got to tell you, you and your crew and all of them, you guys do a great job on Thursday nights. I got to tell you that. That's one.
I appreciate that.
But what's it been like? Tell us truly, what's it been like making that transition from the field to now Thursday night football?
It's been unbelievable. It's been everything I could have hoped it would have been when I took this job, just because it has so many elements that I'm accustomed to from playing this game. You play this game from so long, and you talk to any guy that played it, and they'll tell you the biggest thing they miss is the locker room, the camaraderie, just having a structure and knowing where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there. Certain times of the year, you got a schedule that tells you where to be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Hey, you got breakfast at this time. You're in this meeting. You got training table. You got this. You got this meeting. Got practice at this time. Walkthrough at this time. Then you got curfew in certain aspects. But I think this has been fantastic because it keeps you around the game, keeps you studying the game, understanding the game, keeps you around the players, allows you to tell the story of the game, not to be the story of the game anymore, but to help enhance the story of the game. And we just have an incredible crew of individuals, Andrew Whitworth, Carissa Thompson, Tony Gonzalez, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, Taylor Rooks is phenomenal. And then you got Al and Kirk and Kaylee. It's so fun because I think some of them have been in this industry a long time. And I think it's even special to them. And they've been through the rings. They've been through other staffs and other regimes. And I think it's a understanding, a care, a genuine appreciation, the same things that make great teams in football or in any sport or any company. It's just genuine people being transparent, being open, caring about one another, and doing your best to take care of one another. And I think that's what allows us to be good on TV. We care about one another. We're friends. We laugh. We know the game. We care about the sport. And we know we're not the show.
Well, what's hardest? What is the hardest part about going from competing to critiquing the game?
The hardest part about going from playing is you don't win or lose at the end of the day. When you walk out of the stadium, you didn't win anything, you didn't lose anything. That was the biggest adjustment for the first year. You walk out of the stadium, you're like, I don't feel bad. Well, I don't feel great. You know what I mean? Even when you have a great show, it's like, it was a good show. You did your job well. You told the story. You had a great guest post game, but you're like, that was fun. That was a good time. But, the feeling you get of winning a football game is really high. And the feeling that you get from losing a football game is really low. It's frustrating. So it was an adjustment walking out of stadiums and not feeling that, either win high or just like, hey, we got to go back to the drawing board.
Speaking of adjustment, now I know that there has been a time that somebody's text you or hit you up like, hey man, Sherm, why you say that about me, bro? You know what I mean? Has that happened yet?
No, it honestly haven't. The closest it's come was when Baker was struggling in Carolina. Baker was struggling in Carolina, and we were, I didn't say anything awful about him, but I was just like, hey, I think he's a bust. You know what I mean? I guess that is bad, but I don't think he has it. I don't think he's played well enough, and to be the number one pick and to have the expectations that he had, to play as well as he did his rookie year, and then to kind of like fall off the way he had at that time. It kind of left that taste that, hey, maybe this guy, maybe he lost his mojo. And I might have said that maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I forget exactly what it was, 2 or 3 weeks before Baker got traded to the Rams, and then had that game where he came, where he had that last second drive, that 99-yard drive to win him the game, where he got there like Thursday or something, or he got there Wednesday or Tuesday. He didn't have a lot of time.
Right.
And he got straight off the plane, and they were trying to get him the playbook, and he went out there and he won him the game. That was his like turnaround of his career. That was like a turning point. And we had him on a desk post game because he was player of the game. And so when you got somebody post game, now mind you, I don't even know if Baker even heard what I said or saw what I said. So he didn't say anything about it, but I did. I knew. So you're like, you coming up here, you're like, let me cut this off at the pass.
Right.
So we ask him questions, and I say, Baker, there's a lot of people who didn't believe in you. A lot of people who didn't think you had it anymore. What do you say to people like that after a game like this? And it was hilarious, but he was fantastic about it. He was great. He was just like, you just block out all the noise. You keep believing in yourself. He just gave all the right answers, and he was fantastic about it. It was great. But that was the closest anything has come to that.
Now, which team, you could only pick one this season, one team that you are the most impressed with, and why?
One team, I guess it has to be the Indianapolis Colts. That's the only right answer right now. I would say the San Francisco 49ers, but there's always expectations for the Niners and Kyle Shanahan and all that. You didn't have that for the Indianapolis Colts. Nobody could have told you they were going to be 6-1 right now during this time of the season, and could easily be 7-0 and might be the best team in the National Football League right now. And that's difficult. That'd be a difficult thing to debate against. So I'd say I'm impressed with what Shane Steichen and that staff have done with Lou Anarumo and what he's done with that defense, with the injuries they've had in the back end, turning Daniel Jones into an MVP candidate, reviving Jonathan Taylor's career in the way they have. Jonathan Taylor never fell off, so I'm not saying he fell off, but he when you're not winning and your team isn't good, your relevance falls off, no matter how good you are or you're playing. Look at Derrick Henry this year. Not a lot of people talking about Derrick Henry. It's not like he's not running the ball and doing what he's used to. They're 1-5. So who's talking about them in general?
Yeah.
But it's good to see that for them and that staff, for DeForest Buckner and a guy who I played with in San Francisco. It's good to see different teams be at the top of the league for a change and some parity.
You started a podcast. What made you start your podcast, Sherman?
Chris Collinsworth, really. Chris Collinsworth was what made me start it, because he's the one who started it with me during my playing days, like my last couple of years. He reached out in the off season. This might have been 2020, maybe before COVID. So after a Super Bowl year, he reached out and asked if I'd be interested in being on his podcast once a week. And I said, sure, I could do that. As long as I'm not saying anything controversial. And then fast forward a year later, he's like, hey, I think you do well on your own, but I want you to continue with PFF and go on your own. And then after that, the volume picked me up, and we're in year 5 now of doing it, and it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. It gives you a chance to get your thoughts out there, get your perspective, speak the game, teach the game in your own unique way, and give your side of it. You don't have to. That's the cool thing. You don't have to sit there and criticize guys and say, hey, this guy sucks. This guy is, sometimes guys go through slumps and they're not playing well. Every now and then you do got to say, hey, this guy, I don't think this guy got it. It is what it is. And I think guys respect and understand that's part of the game. You go into a game and you played bad if I'm getting bombed for 6-7 games straight, somebody saying I'm not playing well, that comes with the territory of the job. You know what I mean? Criticism comes with it. So I think you understand that. You want to be respectful of guys. You try not to go personal. You keep it professional, keep it about the game, and it's fun.
Imagine this. Imagine today, you're a podcaster, you are analyst on Thursday Night Football. Now imagine dad, husband, all that stuff. Imagine having to talk about a young cornerback that comes to the league on TV telling folks that he's better at life than they'll ever be. He says to a Hall of Fame quarterback, Tom Brady, "You mad, bro?" I mean, what would you say today about a cornerback like that?
I'd say I like it. I like it. I like a dude with a little bit of flair. You know, that's the cool thing. That's the thing I think I don't think there's enough of in the game today, because it's almost like guys are too timid because they don't think they'll be able to back it up, and they don't want to die on that hill, and they don't want to deal with the fire that could potentially come with it if they don't stand on what they said. But a kid who ain't worried about that, going out there eating every week, talking cash to whoever want to hear it, I'll tell you what, that's a tough one to stop.
You would like that guy, huh? Well, speaking of that,
I would like.
Speaking of you as a player, when did you realize? Because one thing I think everybody says about you is how smart of a player that you were. When did you realize that football was more than just being physical, and it was also more of a mental game?
Probably late in high school. Because it was easier in high school because we had a really talented team. I think we sent 11 players D1, so it wasn't like we were getting in games where we weren't the better team most times. But late in the season, late in the year, we ran into a team that was Sherman Oaks Notre Dame. They hadn't lost in 3 years, and they were, they came from a different part of the town than we came from. And they executed. We were more talented. I still think we were a better team than them, but they were more organized. They were more disciplined. They were more detailed. They ran plays. They ran routes. They ran concepts, and we couldn't get to them. We couldn't figure them out. So I remember, like our senior year, we played them back-to-back years in the championship. And I remember we lost my junior year, and my senior year, I was like, hey, we're going to study these dudes. Like, we're not going to play any of that BS last year where we just was like, hey, we roll the ball out and we just show up and have a good time. I realized, hey, if you watch the tape, and you know what they're going to do, and you go into the game and you study it good enough, the situations they're going to run certain things, it becomes a very easy game, both sides of the football.
Yeah. I've had the fortunate opportunity to know you since your rookie season. And throughout your entire playing career, I would say, like I said, all the you mad bro, the brashness, the loud talker, the Sherm that most people know about. But if I had to say this, Sherm, I would think that most people don't know the big heart Sherm. And you do have a big heart. And I want to ask you, did you ever feel trapped in a villain type label when you played?
I don't know if I felt trapped. I felt like people put that label on because they, in my mind, I was the hero. They can call me what you want, but it don't matter what they think. It matters what I think. So I always thought of myself as a hero. You know what I mean? And I'm the villain because their heroes are getting defeated by me, I guess, and I'm not on the other side of the people they cheering for. But it just means they cheering for the wrong guy.
Was there a cost, though, Sherm? Was there a cost to being misunderstood a little bit? I mean, look, you're human, no doubt about it. I know that. Everybody know you're obviously human. Was there a cost to being misunderstood?
No, because you can't control. Like, because if I'm sitting there trying to be somebody's hero and I'm trying to be something they want me to be, and I'm not being myself and I'm not being authentic, then I'm trapped there, and then I would feel trapped if I'm being inauthentic. And I think I've always done my best, whether people like it or people don't like it, to be the best version of myself, to be authentic, to be transparent, to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? I ain't perfect. I got good days, I got bad days, and you're going to see them both. And if you don't like me on my good days and you don't like me on my bad days, that's okay. You know what I mean? Everybody's not for everybody. And I think that's what I took peace in, is that the people who knew me, I would say, loved me and appreciated me, and the people who didn't had an opinion that wasn't based on reality or truth, and that's okay too. There's so many people that I meet every day that are like, "Man, I used to think this about you. I used to hate you. I used to do this, but you're such a nice guy. You're such a great guy." And it's like, yeah, because you didn't know me. You didn't know me. You were judging. I was beating your favorite team, or I was intercepting your favorite quarterback, or I'm talking mess to a guy that you think highly of because he wears the jersey of the team you support. It's that simple for these people. And so I've learned to disconnect the personal and the sports from it. And that's why people are like, "Oh, you went to San Francisco, you did this." I didn't care about Seahawks when I went to San Francisco. I wasn't thinking, "Oh man, the Seahawks fans are going to be mad." No, I thought, "Hey, this is the closest team for my family, so they don't have to travel. This is not going to be an East Coast where their lifestyle is going to change drastically. There's a scheme fit here. I feel comfortable. I played this defense before. I know it in and out. I know the coordinator. The head coach has a good offensive scheme. I think we'll be able to win here." And the end, and I think people want to like create a image and a vision of you to fit their narrative. And the only narrative I care about is this one.
Sure. All of you guys really low key got your walking papers from the Seahawks. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, everybody did. Everybody either you died, you live long enough to or
Harvey
you died
did.
a hero, or you live. Yeah, Harvey did.
Yeah, Harvey
Or
did
you
say
live long
you
enough
either
for you
die a
to see
hero
them
or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And so a lot of you guys got your walking papers. But I want to go back to that time that you got your walking papers from Seattle. Tell us about that. Were you mad? Were you hurt? Tell the truth.
Well, it was unfortunate because there was not a conversation, and I always told John, like, if that's what we're going to do, we could have a conversation. Like, hey, if you think of, first off, I'm coming off multiple Pro Bowl seasons, so if you want to talk about money and pay cuts, we can have that conversation. But we'll divvy it in a way that, hey, if I get my Pro Bowls and do all this, I get my money, and so when I was coming off my Achilles, I'm hurt, I'm rehabbing, I'm in the building, and they text me that they wanted me to come up and, it might be something to talk about. They may be letting me go. I was like, hey, understand this. Y'all cut me in the middle of Achilles rehab. Like, this is like somebody seeing, hey, rolling with you and seeing you got a flat tire and getting out the car and catching an Uber and being like, good luck. I hope you figure it out. You know what I mean?
We can laugh
I've
now.
been riding with you this whole Yeah, right. I've been riding with you this whole time, and I know you didn't stuck with me through thick and thin and battled with me and it played hurt and tore your knee up and played through the season. But hey, this one looked like this might be a bad look for you right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here and see if you figure it out. You hit me up if you figure it out. And I had little respect. If they had cut me any other year, and I was totally healthy, I probably would feel a lot different about it. I would have been like, okay, you know what I mean? It's part of the business. It is part of the business. But the fact that they kind of left me for dead in that, and it wasn't even a conversation like, hey, just take a pay cut. Are you willing to take a pay cut? Or are you willing to renegotiate your contract or do this so that we can figure some things out? And that's the same reason Bobby was mad. Same reason why a lot of guys are mad. And the same reason why the fans love Cam, because Cam died the hero. Cam didn't have a choice. Cam's career ended before it should have. And so they never seen him leave.
Cliff Averill died
They never
the
seen
hero.
the team cut him. Cliff Averill died the hero because you never seen him leave because their careers ended. They had career-ending injuries, so they stayed. And so they're like, oh man, they never left Seattle. They stuck with us. Yeah, they didn't get to. You didn't get to see him die. You didn't get to see him become the villain. You watched him die the hero. And so, but when you cut somebody in an injury, like if one of these players right now, knock on wood, got hurt from any team, and they're in a knee, say it's an ACL, and a team cuts them in the middle of the ACL, that team is saying, hey, we're trying to harm you. You know what I mean? We don't, because there aren't many teams that are picking up. If the Seahawks picked up a guy in the middle of an ACL rehab, you'd be like, oh, you don't know if this guy going to be the same. You don't know what you're getting. You're getting damaged goods. Like, why would you pick up a guy coming off of ACL. He's never done anything, and pay him big money. And that's why I had a ton of respect for John Lynch and what the Niners did, because they had no idea what they were getting. They had no idea. I'm coming off an Achilles. I've done nothing for y'all but give y'all fans the most pain. And y'all are the first people. As soon as literally a team could call me at like 12 o'clock the next, it was like a Thursday, and they could call me at 12 o'clock Friday, like the window opened the next day. They called me at 12:01.
Who called you?
That meant John Lynch called me. And so the only thing Snyder told me was, hey, call me before you sign any deals and see if we, if we want to match it or do anything. And so I go to San Francisco, I do my physicals and do all that. We have dinner with Kyle. It was great. Salah comes. It had a really good dinner. We sat there. We get through all the logistics of the MRIs and health stuff. And we sit in the office with Prague and John Lynch, and my wife's there. And we going through the contracts, negotiating, the sticking points here and there. And we get to the point where we kind of have the outline of a contract. And I say, hey, y'all walk out the room. Give me about 20 minutes, and I got to make a call. So I call John Snyder. I call Snyder, and I'm like, hey, this is what they offer me. This is what they're talking about. It wasn't anything crazy. It was like 10 a year with some incentives that could get me to like $3 million incentives each year for Pro Bowl, All Pro, to get me to 39, basically to make the 13 that I was making before. And I was like, what do you think about that? He's like, man, it sounds like a good deal for you. Like I think you should take it. I said, you're not trying to send me nothing. You're not going to match. You're not going to send an offer, send a 1 year, $5 million, nothing. He's like, nah, I don't think we are. I said, all right, sounds good. Hung up the phone. And so once that happened, I was like, all right, I understand what this is. And people think, oh man, but you should be loyal. It's like, there was no loyalty in that. There's no loyalty to players. And to drop somebody when they're injured like that is the opposite of loyalty. Like cutting somebody is different. Cutting somebody and saying, hey, you healthy, we go in a different direction. I can go get a job. I can go figure it out. When I'm injured and I may not get a job, I may be out on the streets, like you sending a different message.
Right. Well, the beauty is a lot of you guys have come back and it's all kumbaya these days.
Right.
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 It's kumbaya. Yeah.
Something I've never asked before, and it just came to my mind, and I apologize for asking it. And I'm not going to ask why, I just want to know which one. Which Super Bowl loss did you take the hardest?
Oh, both of them. It ain't one harder than the other. They were equally bad. Those two were equally bad because we had the game won in both of them. That's why. If you get beat outright, I probably would have hurt less if we were like just getting beat the whole game and we were outmatched. It'd have been like, they were a better team that day.
How often
we were
do you
the better
think
team
about
both
it?
games.
How often do you think about it? Because you were competitive.
I don't think about it as much. I don't think about it as much now because then I drive myself crazy. I don't think about things I can't control anymore. Yeah. And I people be like, it's like getting on a plane for me. I get the best sleep ever on a plane. And people are like, man, I'm so nervous on the plane. I'm like, why are you nervous? There's not a thing in your control on that plane. That pilot could be up there having a seizure, drunk, crazy, off pills. You have no idea. And you ain't going to be able to do nothing if he is.
True. One thing I know about you as a person, your brother Brandon as a person, great people. But I would be remiss if I didn't give credit to your parents. And I want to talk about your parents and how instrumental they were and are to who you guys are today. Talk about a little bit of your upbringing and how important both your mom and dad were.
Well, they're essential. They're pivotal. They're the biggest part of the entire journey. You don't get to anywhere without them. They give you your morals. They give you your compass, your drive, the foundation of who you are growing up. They clearly put food on the table, clothes on our back, and also just gave us the mindsets that we have in terms of how we deal with people. Everybody's important. No matter who they are, no matter what their job is, no matter what their outward appearance is, you treat everybody with respect. I was one of the most instrumental things in our lives that we learn is that, regardless of, how much they could be a janitor, they could be homeless, sitting in their car, you treat them with a tremendous amount of respect, the same as you would the president of the United States or your boss at your job or your principal or your parents. You treat everybody with a lot of respect. And I think that helped us have humility growing up and in not a great area. I think their jobs showed us humility. My dad was a trash truck driver. My mom worked with mentally and physically disabled kids. So when you bring your kids to work, you're dealing with kids with cerebral palsy, with Down syndrome, with all these debilitating disabilities that they have, and you see the parents, and the parents are so positive, so encouraging, so enthusiastic. You see the therapist. There's so much energy. There's no place like the Downey MTU is what where she worked, and the energy that was in that building, the positive thoughts, the care, the love, the patience. It was something that you had to be there to experience, and I think that gave me a lot of important lessons in life about being just diligent and being persistent. And my dad gave me lessons about being persistent, not letting me quit, and not letting me. And he let me ride in the car with him one day to work, and it was to a trash yard. And I said, "This man is driving these trash trucks. It stinks. And you were driving it all day for 30 years, all day, waking up 3:45 in the morning. This job, I wouldn't do it for a day."
Right.
And this man is doing it as a career to put food on the table, to make sure I'm good, to make sure my brother's good, my sister, my mom. And it's not a glamorous job. It's not like, my job in football. You get to, go out there in front of millions of people and do something you love. You just gotta grit your teeth and get through it. And he never complained. He'd come home and do what he got to do at home, whether it's fixing broken pipes or fixing a car or blow drying my mom's hair, whatever it took, my dad was doing. And I think that gave me also a lot of great lessons about just, hey, there's no excuse. There's nothing you shouldn't be able to do. There's nothing that you should be too tired to do. You just get home and you get it done. You don't need to make excuses. You don't need to have a long conversation about it. Just you get up out of the bed and go get it done. It needs to get done, and it's going to get done. You're the man of the house. That's who it's on. And I think that's something I've taken my entire life. Like, hey, no matter how hard it is, no matter how tough it is, just get up out of bed and go get it done.
Did you ever see your parents come to tears with the success of their kids?
I don't think I've ever seen them. Yeah, I've seen them both come to tears, if I'm being honest. But I've also seen them. I haven't seen a lot of it, but I know how proud my mom is. My mom has, and my dad. He was riding around with a truck with with a picture of me on it for years, and my mom was riding around with my college stuff on the back of her truck for years. I mean, they're super proud people. But not just of me. My brother has successful businesses. They're just as excited about my little sister and everything she got going on. She just finished nursing school. My mom, was calling me about that the other day. And so, they're just super supportive people, and we've done everything we could to try to pay back the love and appreciation that they've given us, all the important lessons, the foundational things that they've taught us our entire lives. And, as adults, you really have a great appreciation for it when you have kids and you're trying to teach them these same lessons, obviously from a different financial perspective. But I think it's really cool, and it's been great. And now they're RV people. They just rode their RV. They're in an RV now, and they're supposed to get home in a couple hours. But I mean, they were retired in a multi-million-dollar house in Orange County, living their best life.
Man, Sherman, that's got to feel good. Knowing your mom and dad is in an RV, on the road, enjoying life, that's got to feel good as a son.
Yeah, it does feel good. It does. It feels good because they're happy, they're carefree, they're not stressed. The burden of the burden of money and debt and responsibility. I mean, it kills it dims people's light in such an unfortunate way, and you never really get to appreciate how beautiful people are until they get that burden off of them, and they can just be free and let their light shine. And it's unfortunate the world we live in is just getting harder and harder, but you just hope and pray that everybody in their lifetime can one day just be free of it all and get to truly experience the blessings in life and to get their light shine and to go do things that bring joy to their hearts. That's what I hope for the world.
You're a father now. What is something that fatherhood has taught you that football has not come close to teaching you?
Patience. Like there's a patience in football, but the patience you have to have as a dad, the level of humility to just be like, hey, you're probably going to be wrong in just about every situation, even when you're dead right in every single one of them. And you got to walk in there and the presence that you have over your family, and the responsibility that you have to your family. It takes a tremendous amount of patience and thoughtfulness and just almost, I say humility because that's the best word, because the great Chris Richard always told me humility, and he said this just about every day to me. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's just thinking of yourself less.
Ooh.
And so as a dad, that's literally where you live. You think of yourself a lot less every day. And I'm as you as a father, I know understands it.
Man, it's tough for sure, no doubt. It's a hard thing, and I know that your kids get told about number 25 and Richard Sherman and all those things. However, what is one thing that you would want your kids to know about the man behind that jersey, the father of who you are?
Oh, my kids know. What would I want other people to know? That what my kids know?
No, well, no. What would you seriously make? But what would if your kids were watching this at some point 20, 30 years, 40 years down the road, what would you want them to still know and be reminded of?
Just the work ethic, the drive, the almost the confidence to the point of almost arrogance. And I say that in the best possible way, because all your life, especially coming from where I'm from, and I'm not the only person who's come from humble beginnings and tough background and tough neighborhoods. Just about every kid in the National Football League has the same story. But to not allow people to dim your light during the journey, because all your life they say, oh, you're trying to go to the NFL, it's only point one, you better find a different plan because nobody makes it to the NFL from here, nobody does this. And I'm like, and I'll tell them this, I've shot a high percentage on low percentage shots my whole life. Every step of the way. They said, hey, you're not going to make it to the NFL. They said, nobody makes it from the NFL from here. They say, nobody goes to Stanford from here. They say, nobody from Stanford goes to the NFL and has a Hall of Fame career. There's only been a handful of them, Elway, and they're usually quarterbacks. Lynch is, I think, the first. Lynch, and Lynch, and then you got Elway. You only got a couple.
Yeah. Well, since you brought up Hall of Fame, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up now. When the Hall of Fame conversation comes up, what do you think about when that conversation comes up and your name is talked about potentially being in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, it's again, I don't worry about stuff I can't control. I did everything I could to put myself in position to hopefully ever, be considered for that, and that's all I could do. I don't worry about it outside of that, because you drive yourself crazy about some stuff that you can't control. You want to get in, that'd be a tremendous honor and a blessing and a lifelong accomplishment and something that you dream about. But thinking about it and racking your brain about it and knowing you can't control it, you can't control what the voters do and what the people think. All you can control is the trophies on the shelf and the career that you put and the resume you've put out there, and hope it's good enough.
Yeah. The city of Seattle, the place that you call home, the place that just recently you were at T-Mobile Ballpark going crazy for the Mariners, the place that your kids are here, wife, everything. What is one message for the city of Seattle and what they mean to you?
I think you just pretty much summarized it. It's home, and it's been home since I got here. And I think, and me and my brother argue about this all the time because he's like, "You're from LA. You're just a LA dude. You just live other places." It's like, but I was born there. I was born in LA. I didn't have a choice of but to stay there. You know what I mean? I'm in my parents' house. I'm there until I leave for college at 17. But as an adult, you pick and choose where you get to stay. And for my entire adult life that I've gotten a chance to choose outside of Stanford, I've been here. And I think it's been a fantastic decision, an incredible city with incredible people, incredible traditions, beautiful scenery, fun teams, incredible fans, and a great place to raise kids and to live. I have no complaints about it. Outside of not enough people have Teslas. Everybody get a Tesla if you get a chance, and put it in autopilot because people can't drive, especially in the rain. But it's really been a blessing to be drafted here and to start my football journey here and to finish my football journey here and continue to raise my kids in this environment. As you know, a lot of us still are around. I say a lot, a handful of us are still around because they feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, Sherm, I got to tell you, you seem a lot happier today than a long time. Before we go, is there a reason for that? I mean, because you're not usually this giddy.
Oh, it's giddy. Not really. It's just, things are, the older you get, you get in your routine, you get in your rhythm, and I'm in a good routine and a good rhythm. Kids are in a good place. Like you say, when life's good and everybody's healthy and going the right direction, parents in a good spot, life's good. There's a lot of expectations and burdens on people that you don't necessarily know about. And then when those burdens are turned from negative to positive, a lot of energy changes.
You drink coffee in the morning, Sherm?
Sometimes I didn't have none today yet.
And you still in a great mood. Man.
Well, I'm in a great mood because I get to see you.
Oh, man. Hey, I got to say, man, like, I love you, brother. Like, I appreciate
I love you too.
who you have been. Our relationship has never changed. Matter of fact, I would say that it's better today than it ever was. And so I appreciate that, man. And I'll try not to play some clips of us together and you rapping back in the day. I know some people, I got that on my phone still. You rapping, Cam rapping, the Friday night.
Hey, it was great times. Cam was, Marshawn was on there bringing up Tia Luz on his podcast the other day. I said, Sean, hey, you about 2 seconds from saying too much.
Man, it's been good, man. Thank you so much for joining me, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, G, man. It's always a pleasure. It's good to see you. I'm happy for you. I hope your podcast continues to do well, and I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Peace and love, brother.